Your life, as it has been, is over.
Welcome to the Racist Rabbit Hole, part. This video is brought to you by Extreme Tees. Click on the link below. Make sure you put Kevin in the promo code and you'll get a 20% discount.
Are you a racist? Do you believe that America is somehow uniquely racist? Well, as somebody who was born in another country, who chose to be American, who's traveled the world from Asia to Africa to Europe, I can tell you the truth. We are the least racist nation in the world. A nation where a man who was born black, who was raised by a single parent, can actually make it to the highest position in the land.
Now, did y'all hear that, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Kevin's Corner, where I try to make sense out of nonsense. And that was none other than my boy, Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Are you a racist? Is America systemically racist? Well, Sean, I love when he's on Sean Hannity. Well, look, Sean. Yeah, this dude right here from another country is about to talk to us about all this systemic racism. Welcome, y'all, to part 4 of that racist rabbit hole. We're going down. Okay, so maybe people from outside of our country can see just how tainted America is as they all try to flock here. I'm pretty sure all of those illegal immigrants that was on that camera saying, we're coming to America, it's Biden, he's the new president, and he's going to give us 100 days to and get our papers, we're coming to America for a better life, and all of that. They're coming here because of all of this systemic racism. That's why. That's what they're doing. All of these folks from all over the world, as they look from Africa, from Arab nations, from, Chinese nations and Japanese nations and all of the world to see. They look over here and all they see is slavery and racism all over the place. And they said, but let's go check it out firsthand. In fact, let's move there, hun. Interesting. But yet that goes right over the heads of all these people running the streets thinking that that's what we're living in. So maybe Dr. Sebastian Gorka can give us some enlightenment upon this racist rabbit trail.
That's how multi-ethnic we are and how unbigoted a nation America is. However, if you're a Democrat, if you're a member of the Biden administration, you see things very, very differently.
How so?
There is a woman that you probably haven't heard of who is now a member of the Biden cabinet. Her name is Linda Thomas Greenfield, and she is your ambassador to the United Nations.
What?
Which, it's a weird thing, I know, I don't think it's right, is a cabinet level position. It's the one ambassador who ex officio is at the level of a secretary inside any presidential administration.
Okay.
This week, for some reason, she was addressing Al Sharpton's NAN organization.
What?
Where as a serving member of the Biden cabinet, she had this to say about America.
Let's see.
I grew up in the segregated South. I was bused to a segregated school.
Okay.
On weekends, the Klan burned crosses on lawns in our neighborhood. I shared these stories and others to acknowledge on the international stage that I have personally experienced one of America's greatest imperfections. I've seen for myself how the original sin of slavery weaved white supremacy into our founding documents and principles.
Wait a minute. First things first. Is she Harriet Tubman? How old is this woman? My father is 85. This woman is not 85. Our family is from the South. I don't hear stories of them just constantly burning crosses on, the land. I mean, 85 puts you back there close to 1930, somewhere around there, a little bit above. This woman could not have been born during the time, or she shouldn't even be in this position. If she's that old, where that was a common thing back in the South, I'm talking common. Of course, you go back to the 60s and beyond, before the Civil Rights Movement, you're going to find those spots like that where they was dropping them out there. But you start going further and further back, it was more common. They were more belligerent. They were open. They were like, yeah, we going to do it and ain't nothing going to happen to us, man. Ain't nothing going to happen to us. Then you start working your way up. My question is, how old are you to where you experience this like it was every day? Like you had to leave your crib and run to school looking over your shoulder while folks was riding on white horses like, get her, man, get her before she get in that schoolhouse. Oh, darn it, she made it. We just wait and see if we can catch her on the way home. This right here is interesting. Where's she going with this? Because see, now you're in the government working on behalf of these people in America. Not the ones that you claim lived back in the day that were, burning crosses on your front lawn and things like that. Not the ones that had slaves and owned them. I mean, maybe she don't know that all of those folks were Democrats too, but now she's serving that party. But nonetheless, if you're going to hold the past people accountable for all that racism, why not hold your party accountable for all of that racism? Why join the party responsible for all of that racism and not hold them accountable like you're holding all those people who's dead and gone? I'm pretty sure, even if she did experience that, the folks burning those crosses on her lawn aren't alive at this point. But hey, according to her, the stench of racism had tainted the country forever. So why don't we just throw it all out, right? I mean, we can't just cherry pick through it and say, you know what? Let's sift America like wheat. Let's go ahead and shake it and let all the bad stuff drop through and keep the good stuff, because there's some good about America too. And if you can't see that, then you don't need to be serving American citizens, because now you're just representing the bitter, angry ones that believe in white nationalism, systemic racism, who's mad for nothing, who wants reparations, or all of the white liberals and globalists who want to use this narrative of racism, not against themselves, because they should be falling into the category of this too, but against their opponents to push an agenda that she is either knowledgeable about or ignorantly helping them do. One of the two. But the fact that she got the nerve to be representing this country and saying that our country is systemically racist and all of this stuff like this is current is offensive to everybody. How do you get into this position and represent your country like this? And that is why Trump said, Democrats cannot love our country when they're constantly tearing our country down. You can't tell me you love your wife and you're like, she gets on my nerves. Every day she comes home, she doesn't cook anything correctly, she burns water, and you know what else? She snores in her sleep like a dragon. Sounds like a Boeing 747 is landing on top of my house every night when I'm laying next to her. Her toenails are like talons. They scratch me every time. One time I had to get stitches. And every time she wakes up, she says good morning, and my eyebrows slide right off of my forehead because her breath stinks constantly. I don't like her mother. Ugh, man. And not to mention she's losing her hair. I mean, come on now. What woman goes through early male-female pattern baldness? This is crazy, man. This is crazy. But I love her. I love her to death. She's my queen. You can't tell me you love your husband when you coming in every day.
Girl, let me tell you. He came in last night, tracked mud all through the house. Girl, the man ain't did a sit-up in years ever since I met him. He had to have picked up at least 75 pounds in the last 3 weeks. Other day, he asked me to clip his toenails because he couldn't even bend down and clip his own toenails. His stomach was in the way. And yet, he talking about my hair is starting to thin out. He the one walking around with that open stadium look, that Bozo the Clown look, girl, and he got a pepper tooth. Yeah, you know what? My breath might stink, but he got a pepper and a butter tooth, girl. How you gonna have a pepper and a butter tooth? You know, nails dirty, can't fix nothing around the house. And let me tell you something. You think I snore? Girl, you should hear him. The other day, I woke up and called in talking about 911. It's an earthquake. Oh, I'm sorry. It's just my husband next to me snoring. I'm sorry. False alarm. But girl, he's my prince.
You cannot do that and try to tell people you love someone after destroying them every opportunity you get. So I'm starting to question some things here. Let's see if we can see what Dr. Sebastian Gorka is going with this.
Weaved white supremacy into our founding documents and our founding principles? Is she an outlier? Is she some kind of extremist that just got through the vetting, squeezed through the cracks? No. This level of hatred for... Remember, she is paid by you to represent America at the United Nations. And that's what she's saying about the country she is supposed to represent. But she's not an outlier. She's not just some strange radical who accidentally became the ambassador to the UN. Why? Because her boss, the secretary of the State Department, believes the same thing. Here we have Antony Blinken, the chief diplomat who runs the State Department, with Chuck Todd talking about the peculiar priorities that he has as the chief diplomat at Foggy Bottom.
Congresswoman Alyssa Slotkin of Michigan, a former CIA officer, she's asked the State Department to start to designate additional overseas white supremacist groups. We know that there's some international white supremacist groups around there, and designate them as foreign terrorist organizations. Is that something you're looking at?
We're looking across the board at the increasing danger posed by white supremacist groups around the world. And this is a growing problem and a growing challenge. So it's something we're looking at, and we'll have to decide how we can be most effective for our part in dealing with the problem.
Now, maybe I'm just some strange individual who doesn't know what these people are actually doing at the State Department, but I've spent 20 years studying national security, studying counterterrorism, and the enemies we face. And I can bet that if you're a member of the military, if you're a police officer, if you're in the intelligence community and you're apolitical, you're just a professional, the last thing you wake up every morning wondering is, how is America going to face down that global white supremacist threat?
Thank you, Dr. Sebastian Gorka, for pointing out how stupid this sounds. Show me the city, the country, the state, or whatever, that the masses, their whole government, their military, their political stance, their policies, all revolve around white supremacy. A whole country. See, because remember, it has to be on a mega scale for you to say that this is a growing threat that we now have to even focus on overseas. Forget terrorists. See, those folks actually organize and let you know we're all together. You know, we're ISIS, we're Al-Qaeda, all of that stuff. But where's these huge white supremacy, organizations are saying, our goal is to go after any folks that are not white, any folks that are Anglo-Saxon. Last group I saw doing that was Hitler and the Nazis. Now Germany's very dialectic and open. I mean, shoot, Europe that has the most white folks, they are the ones that's the most inclusive. They're so inclusive to a fault, to where they're saying, you know what, we're going to let all these Muslims come over here and they're going to set up their own government. They can have Sharia law. We won't even have folks go in there and police them. They can pretty much do what they want. And when they get mad and they're all radical and attack us, we don't want to demonize them by calling them terrorists and stuff like that. They're so liberal that they're ignorant, that they're vulnerable. Same thing with Canada. So what are these dudes doing? This right here is a part of a larger global movement to go after anyone who disagrees with liberalism, disagrees with globalism. And the only reason you're going to tell everybody they disagree is not because this stuff is stupid and folks want to retain their sovereignty and common sense, but because they have to be a white supremacist or white nationalist, y'all. When is the last terrorist attack that was done by white nationalists? I'm not talking about folks you call white nationalists to push the narrative and agenda. I'm talking about a real open white nationalist group, one that claims it. We see terrorist groups constantly claim it. We want you to know that it was us, it was ISIS and Al-Qaeda. We don't see no one committing terrorist acts saying, we want you to know it's the white supremacists, man. The skinheads responsible for this. We don't see none of that. But yet you got politicians and these fake, phony, bootleg appointees by liberal politicians like Biden, appointees that are pushing this type of rhetoric and garbage that I guarantee you is concoctioned in a group think tank with some of the most powerful people on this planet, thinking, how can we implement our diabolical globalist agenda, blah, blah. Trump was an anomaly that will disappear in 2020, blah, blah. Guarantee you, when they go into that playbook of you know what, corruption and evil / socialism, when they go into that, I guarantee you, yeah, to pull a fast one over on people, let's just use these type of tactics. We know they're not true because we will fall into the category of everything that we're accusing everybody else of. But we're just simply going to use the power of the media and ignorance of folks to push this agenda so they will get on board with our real diabolical scheme of globalism and tyranny. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I went down that racist rabbit hole for you, so you didn't have to go to it. Okay, you didn't have to go down that hole. I went down it for you, okay? I went down and discovered all that corruption and systemic racism that's concoctioned and all of that mess for you. So you can send this to a bubblehead of yours, someone you really care about, but yet know that they ain't got the common sense to see through all this crap. Send it to them, and maybe we might even do a part 5. But until then, God bless you, and we'll see y'all next time in Kevin's Corner. Take care. Check out Extreme Teas, my sponsor. The link is below this video. If you click on it and put Kevin in the promo code, you'll get a 20% discount. And finally, don't forget to hit like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button. And if you'd like to donate to Kevin and Kevin's Corner, there's links below this video to do that as well. Okay, God bless you and God bless America.